Alright guys, this video is going to talk about input, output, and processing. So when we're talking about input, input is anything that the user puts into the computer for us to work with. So to get input from the user, the first thing we'd have to do is declare a variable. So in this little uh, exercise, we're just going to ask them for their name and then give a simple output back to them using their name. So to get their name, I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it name, and I'm going to set that equal to input, which is the function we use to get input from the user, and we have to give them a prompt. So my prompt is going to be enter your name, and then I am going to close that parentheses out to end that function. So I want to print them a little message with their name in it. So I'm going to print hello, and then I'm going to use my separator. The comma separates so I can put more than one argument into the print function. And so my first argument is the string hello. My second argument is going to be the variable name, which is going to be whatever they put in. So that is all I have to write for this program. So then I'll go to run and run module, and it'll ask me to save it. And you can save it under any name, anywhere you want to. It really doesn't matter. This is just some test stuff we're playing around with. So after you save it, it'll pop up over here in your shell, and it'll run. Mine's taking a little bit to load here. Here we go. So it's asking for a name. So I can put in any name. It doesn't have to be my name. It could be any name, anybody that sits down in front of the computer and puts their name in. And then it just simply prints out the hello and then the name that they entered. So that's the basics for input and output right there. The print function is for output. The input function is for input. So if we want to talk about processing, and I'm just going to come back over here to my program where I wrote the name thing and all that. Oops. Let me get that back up real quick. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to come back over here to where I wrote my code, and I'm going to change it. We're going to get some different inputs so that we can actually do some math to it. So I am going to ask the user for the year that they were born, and then I'm going to tell them how old they are or how old they will be this year. So I'm still going to have to do input, still going to have to do output, but now I'm going to add process to it, and the process will be determining their age based on the year they were born. So I have to get the year they were born, so I'm just going to call it birth year. I'm going to set that equal to the input, and my prompt will be enter the year you were born. Now, since we are trying to do math with this, I need to turn this into an integer. Excuse me. So I'm going to pass all of this into the integer function so that it'll convert whatever they give me to an integer. And the reason we have to do this is because everything that comes in through the input function comes in as a string. So if we want to be able to do math with it, we have to turn it into an integer or a float by passing it through the int function to turn it into an integer, or the float function to turn it into a float. So I've got birth year equals int input, enter the year you were born. So now to figure out their age, I will create a variable called age, and I will set that equal to the current year, which is 2017, minus birth year, or the year they were born. And that will give me how old they are, or how old they will turn this year if they haven't had their birthday yet. So now I will do a simple output, which is a print function. It says you are or will be and then I'll use my comma to separate between the two. And then age, because my variable called age is going to have whatever their age is for this year. And then I will do another comma to separate and just simply put years old. And then close that function out. So it's going to ask them for their age, or excuse me, their birth year. They're going to put in the year they were born. I'm going to calculate their age through a simple mathematical equation. And then I'm going to print a statement out that says how old they are or will be this year. So again, we'll run the module, we'll save it. And I'm saving it over the same thing because these are just stuff we're messing around with right now. So now, in the shell, it's asking me for the year I was born. You can put in your birth year. I was born in 1984, so I'll put 84. Hit enter, and it tells me you are or will be 33 years old, which is accurate. This year I will turn 33. So that is the basics for input, output, and processing.